Hi all, it's Emily Rand with ESPN Esports. I am joined by Momo, who's going to teach me more about COD, because that's actually why I wanted to interview you. I kind of just wanted to pick your brain about stuff that's going on. First of all, what are the biggest changes you've seen going from tournament to franchise structure?
The franchise structure for me, I think for everyone at home as well, was like ifs and buts and how's it going to play out, because unlike other esports, we had a decade behind us of traditional, and we knew what we liked, we knew what we wanted, and this was kind of changing it, throwing a curveball at everyone. But franchising, I think for me, the best thing about this is going from city to city and seeing these home crowds. Before this, we saw 90%, 95% support one team or one player, Optic, Scum, and everyone still loves that team and loves that player, but I'm turning up here in LA or Minnesota of all places, and we're getting watch parties, we're getting true fans. These guys are screaming and shouting for names that have never had that kind of feeling, and I think it is showing. You saw how Minnesota played in Minneapolis. We saw obviously FaZe in Atlanta. Now Optic, they're doing great things in LA, so it feels like the home crowd really is a factor.
One of the things I've talked about with players is actually they have brought up, they're like, oh man, I never heard cheers for myself. Players have been overwhelmingly supportive of this, which kind of surprised me. Even talking to them last year, I was expecting to get a lot of I don't want franchising because COD has always been you make it on your own and you have to bug people about running tens and you have to put yourself out there and you have to do everything by yourself, and it should always stay that way. Have you been surprised at how receptive a lot of these players, especially the veterans, have been?
Yeah, I think it was always, again, it was a huge question mark of how everyone's going to take it, and for me the most important was the viewers, and I think the players, this is their job. They're getting paid to do it. That's kind of what they've got to do. But it's for you guys at home who, are sitting and watching this and breaking it down and seeing something different. And I think it is different. And for me, especially being involved for so long and seeing tournaments without every single team there. But I think week by week, as we go around the country and around the globe, it is building that excitement. We've not seen this FaZe Huntsman matchup yet. That suspension keeps getting built, and that's the exciting thing for me. But to answer your question, yes, I have been surprised at how well it's been taken. The whole change has been a huge change for talent, for everyone backstage, cameras, whatever it may be. Everyone's had to adapt, but I think everyone's thriving in the environment.
One of the things I talked about with Alex Golden Boy actually is how well or how not well people might be using the challenger system, because again, previously you would just be on a lower tier team, you might make a huge splash, you might be performing really well, your team doesn't necessarily get up there, but they do well enough that people start paying attention to you. How well do you think COD Challengers has worked so far?
I think some players and people at home do question it, and I think rightly so. But the one thing that I can now say, which is awesome, is look at Gorillas, look at Vivid, look at Spark, Pharaoh. These guys have sat in that Challenger open bracket, played through these teams, won some cash. I think Minnesota, they had $75,000, which was bigger than most majors last year. These guys have won cash, and they've been recognized. And now they're on a starting lineup, and they're replacing people like Aches. It's incredible. Aches is a player which has been around for 12, 13 years now, and he's been replaced by people who I've got to pick up my phone and follow on Twitter because I don't know who they are. I cast Vivid just yesterday, and he was dropping 14 kills, search and destroy, and I'm like, this kid's a beast, and I'm excited to see him play more.
Do you think we'll see more opportunities then for certain players now that it's I guess a little bit less word of mouth and player, because sometimes what happens is that players play against each other and then they're like, oh man, this guy's amazing, and then that's how you kind of move forward regardless. Do you think we'll have teams actually taking more chances on players?
I think you have to, because the likes of Gorillas, they weren't doing well, same as Optic, they weren't performing. And I think after this event, they're still in it right now, but if things didn't go well, they'd be looking at those challenger players. They'd be looking at the new upcoming young players, because, again, 12 months ago, and I tweeted about this, Simp was in a very, very similar position. He was going through challenges, the amateur scene, and he won it. He got recognized, picked up in an academy team, and within 9 months, he'd won the playoffs, an MVP, COD champs, the MVP, and it does work. If you are good enough, you will get recognized. by all means, I know everyone wants to be a pro, and some people don't have the talent. Me being one of them.
I mean, I don't have hands.
That's why I
I'm
turned
really
to
honest
casting.
about that.
It's difficult to keep up with some of these guys, but it works, and if you are that talented, you will be recognized.
As someone who's completely new to the COD scene outside of just being an insanely casual viewer, what is your advice for me coming in? What do I need to do better as someone covering it?
I say to someone covering it, I mean, that's a very particular one. I'm not too sure. I think you're doing a great job. But I would say to everyone who's new to it, kind of get familiar with maybe your team, where you're from. You know, for myself, I'm from England, so instantly, if I was new, I'd be like, oh, there's a team from London. You know, I'm going to look at this team and look at those players. But I think just kind of watching it and enjoying it and trying to learn about it is the key, being open to that, because it is very fast paced. You know, watching games, video games in general, a lot can happen on the screen, and my job is to try and make it easy for you guys at home. And sometimes I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, what's happening here? It's all chaotic. But just try and enjoy it. I think just be open and receptive to learning something new and something pretty cool, in my opinion.
Oh, no, I mean, I love it. Again, I'm like in the process of going from casual to invested journalist. Thank you so much for your time and
My
for
pleasure.
joining me today. And for more Call of Duty League coverage, keep it here on ESPN Esports.